Yeah, it's mindset cafe, we all about that mindset. Gotta stay focused, never settle for less. It's all in your head, how you think you manifest. So get ready to rise, cause we about to be the best. Gotta switch it up, gotta break the old habits. Get your mind right, turn your dreams into habits. No negative vibes, only positive.
Most people don't fail because they have too few of options. They fail because they have too many options. Right? Too many shows, too many business ideas, too many diets, too many gurus, too many paths to take, right? And because there's so many options, they pick none. And here's the truth. The more options you feel feels like freedom, but most of the time it can create hesitation. And hesitation is expensive because while you sit there thinking, time still keeps moving. Other people act, you stay stuck. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mindset Cafe. It is your boy Devin, and today I am talking about the problem almost everybody has and almost nobody names, and it's too many choices. Right? Most people think more choices is always better, but I would argue that. And the reason I say that is because while more choices may feel like more opportunity, more freedom, more flexibility, it may sound good, but in reality, too many options usually creates you overthinking, second guessing, decision fatigue, or that could all lead to essentially you not taking action, right? And I'll make this simple. The problem is not the lack of opportunity. The problem is the lack of commitment, because progress does not come from finding the perfect option, right? It comes from picking one and moving forward with it. Whether it's right or wrong, you can always pick a different option and move forward with that one and adjust. But picking no option leaves you stuck. So today, I want to break down why too many choices can make even smart people feel stuck and how to fix it, right? No fluff. I don't want to, sugarcoat anything. I just want to keep it simple, right? So the illusion of freedom, right? We live in the age of infinite options, right? And that can sound like a blessing. A lot of times it's honestly just a trap. Let's say with streaming platforms with thousands of shows, thousands of movies, right? Career paths that look endless, dating apps with infinite swipes, business opportunities all over the internet, right? Courses, coaches, models of plans or whatever, tools, strategies, right? All these options feel like you are free to do whatever, and there's a million ways to solve the problem. But most of the time, they create overload. They create hesitation. So, simple example, let's say a person spends 45 minutes scrolling on Netflix and watches nothing. Like they just watched a show, or they just spent 45 minutes, which is essentially the time of a show or even half of a movie, scrolling before they even get started, right? But that's modern life, right? It's busy, it's stimulated, right? No decisions, no results, right? And that's the illusion, right? You feel active, but you're not moving. Your brain wasn't built for unlimited choices. Your brain wasn't designed for endless options. It was designed for survival. It was designed for simple calls, right? Food, danger, shelter, people, right? Not 700 different career options, not 40 different diet options, not 20 different business model options, not 300 things to watch before bed. Every decision costs energy. That matters because mental energy is not unlimited. You burn it down all day long. Small choices, big choices, text messages, emails, timing, money, people, right? All those things. And by the end of the day, your brain is tired, and tired brains make worse choices or no choices. And that's why decision fatigue is real. You've seen it. There's research showing judges grant fewer paroles later in the day. Same facts, different mental state, right? Same case, just different state of the judge. And that's how much fatigue can matter. So no, you're not lazy. A lot of times you're just overloaded, overstimulated, right? So there's the paradox of choice. And there's a real reason this happens, right? I think his name is Barry Schwartz, called it the paradox of choice. And it's a simple idea, right? More options do not always make people happier. A lot of times it makes them worse, or feel overstimulated, or feel anxious, right? And it can create almost a sense of like paralysis, like decision paralysis, or regret, or lower satisfaction. And you might ask yourself why, but because when there's too many choices, you don't just pick one. It's not as simple as yes or no, A or B, one or two, right? You compare, then you compare again. Then you wonder if, well, did I pick wrong? So then you keep looking. And then you're about to choose and you're like, well, let me just look one more time. And then even after you choose, you don't enjoy the choice because your brain is still scanning those other options to see for something better. So the problem is not just choosing. The problem is what too many choices do to your mind after the choice is made, right? Here's one of the clearest examples, right? The jam study. A grocery store set up 2 jam or jelly displays, right? One had 24 kinds of different jam and the other had 6. More people stopped at the big display with the 24, which makes sense. I mean, I would say I would probably stop there too, because I, 1, have ADD, and 2, because I'm a very visual buyer. But the more options, they get the attention. But when it came to like time to buy, the smaller display won by a landslide. So the lesson in that, too many options creates curiosity, but fewer options creates action. And that matters, right? That matters for you in the decisions you make on a daily basis. That matters if you are running a business. That matters in I'll say even this, like with my daughter, right? My son's too young for this to even matter. But with my daughter, it's like, if I give her options yes or no, then she'll give me a yes or no. But if I would need it to be a yes, then I'll give her 2 options essentially that would lead to that yes. So it's like, we're gonna brush your teeth. She says no. So instead of that, I'd be like, do you want to brush your teeth and then play with toys? Or do you want to play with toys and then brush your teeth? And then you give them the options, right? They still get to choose, but it's not like, oh, well, let's eat dinner and then this and then that, and then maybe we do this, or which one do you want to do out of all these things? It doesn't work that way, right? A lot of you guys are living in that curiosity mode and not in action mode. You're interested in everything, but you're committed to nothing. I'll say that again. You're interested in everything. You're scanning, comparing, all that stuff. You're interested in everything, but you are committed to nothing. You have not chosen a path and taken action on it, right? And that is decision paralysis in real life. And this isn't just about, like, let's say buying jam at the store, jelly at the store. This is your life, right? Your career choices, business ideas, your fitness plans. Let's say the books you read, the courses you take, investing strategies. If you're on social media, content strategies. You want the right path, so you keep researching and researching and researching. Example, someone spends 3 years researching the perfect business idea and then doesn't launch anything. At that point, the problem is not the idea, the problem is the hesitation. Most people don't fail from picking wrong, they fail because they never picked anything, right? So there's a hidden cost, which is loss of momentum, right? Too many choices will kill your momentum, and that is the real cost of it, right? You're overthinking, so you keep learning. You keep comparing. You keep looking for certainty. And while you do that, nothing is changing. Nothing is moving. You stay in the learning phase. You stay in the research phase because that is the comfort phase. That is where you are comfortable because you can't make any wrong decisions in the learning phase or in the research phase, right? So you stay open, quote unquote, to new ideas. And you sound smart, and you may appear smart from the outside for doing so, but in reality, it's not smart, right? It's expensive to your growth because your progress loves commitment, not perfection. I'll say it again. Your progress loves commitment, not perfection, right? Momentum comes from doing, not from studying 10 more times, not from watching another video, not asking 5 more people what they think, right? You have to realize if you stay in that research, you stay in that study phase or that learn phase, right? You start to get a comparison, you get comparison anxiety, right? More options will create more comparison, which is pretty much automatic. So you ask, like, which one is the best one? Did I choose wrong? Did I choose right? What if something is better out there? That kind of thinking ruins good choices, because now you can't enjoy the path that you picked and you won't fully commit to the path that you picked. So you're still mentally dating all the other paths with a portion of your energy from your mind, right? And that will create a sense of anxiety that will weigh heavier on you, which will drain your energy faster, because now every choice feels risky. Every move feels final. Every commitment feels scary. So even when you make a good decision, it still feels off a little bit, because in your mind, you're still looking and comparing, and it doesn't feel off because the choice is bad. It's because your brain is still shopping, right? So you have to think there's 2 common like decision styles here, right? There's maximizers and then there's satisfiers. And maximizers try to find the absolute best option. They want the top result. They want the perfect fit. They want the best move possible. They want to sound smart. Usually that will create stress, right? Because maximizers will overthink it. They will compare too much. They will regret more. And often they tend to be a little less happy even when they chose well. Then you have the satisfiers, right? They pick something that is good enough and move. They commit, they adjust later if needed. They don't worship perfect. They respect progress. And usually they're a little bit happier, right? They're a little more productive because they spend less time on choosing and more time on executing, right? And I'll say, like, there's a trap even for entrepreneurs, right? Entrepreneurs get crushed by this because the internet, it will give you so many plays, honestly, too many ideas, and 20 different business models, 50 different marketing strategies, 100 different courses, thousands of gurus, by the way, that most of the time they have never done it themselves, all telling you their way is the way. So what happens, right? You become addicted to the information and getting more information, and then there's no execution. You binge on the content, you take notes, you build folders, you color code shit, you make plans, and your bank account stays the same. Honestly, it probably even goes down because you're spending so much money on this shit that you don't need. Because consuming ideas is not the same as taking action, right? It might feel productive, or one feels productive, but one actually pays the bills, right, and grows your bank account. And if you're thinking, well, I'm just prepping, I'm just preparing. No. At some point, preparation becomes avoidance. And I will say, I can speak for a lot of people when that is the case, right? If you've been thinking that you're just prepping and, you had a New Year's resolution, it's March, middle of March already. If you're just prepping to conquer your New Year's resolution, shit, you're avoiding that. We're almost 3 months in. Quarter one's almost done, right? Now you're avoiding whatever it is because it's going to be hard to execute your goal, so you're avoiding it. You have to go through the fire to be forged by the fire to get out on the other side to become the person that you want to become, right? Here's the twist, though. And I will say that constraints can create creativity, right? The best performers often use fewer options on purpose. They create constraints, right? For example, Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck, right? Mark Zuckerberg wore the same gray shirt. And why was that? Less decisions, right? Less decision fatigue. If they know that they're just gonna grab one of 1,000 different black turtlenecks or gray t-shirts, they don't need to decide on it, right? They get to save that mental power for the real work. And it's not about, for them, being fashionable, right? It's about being conservative, right? They're conserving their energy. They're protecting their mental energy, because small choices still cost energy, and you'll need that energy for the things that actually matter. Money decisions, leadership, strategy, execution, problems. Not what shirt should I wear, right? Constraints aren't necessarily punishments, right? They're leverage, right? There's a power in pre-decisions. Elite performers will remove decisions before they even happen, and that's how they win. They pre-plan their workouts, they have fixed routines, they have scheduled content blocks, they limit priorities, they have the standard meals that they eat every single day, right? They set wake-up times, the whole nine. And so why does that work? Because it removes the daily question. What should I do today? What should I do now? That question is expensive. It creates drift. It creates stagnation, right? When the plan is already made, you don't need motivation. You just need compliance. You just need to do the thing. That is it. You don't rise because you feel like it. You rise because there's decisions were already made. So there's a 3-option rule that I like to kind of set, right? And here's a tool that you can use as of right now, the 3 options, right? If you're thinking or staring at 50 choices, you're already losing. Cut it to 3, then choose. Example, instead of 30 business ideas, pick 3. For example, let's say, coaching, digital products, consulting. Cool. Now compare those 3. Choose one, move. That's it. You don't like it, you can always change course, right? Let's say fitness, for example. You don't compare 20 different programs or 20 different gyms. Pick 3 and choose one and get started. What am I going to hit this week in order? You don't need 20 different program muscle splits or anything like that, right? Pick 3, right? Let's say full body, upper, lower, and then push, pull legs, right? Pick 3, choose the one that works for you, run it for 12 weeks. It's honestly, it's that simple. 3 is enough to compare. 50 is where your brain starts to die. It starts to get an energy just leakage, right? Action will beat perfection every single time when it comes to decisions. Most people want the right choice, but the truth is momentum makes the choices right. I will say that again. Most people want the right choice, but momentum will make the choice right. A mediocre business idea executed well will always beat the perfect idea that never launched. A simple fitness plan followed for 6 weeks, 6 months to the T will beat the optimal program that you keep restarting. A decent strategy with reps beats a brilliant strategy with no action. Execution sharpens your path, right? Action gives you the feedback. The feedback creates improvement, right? You don't think your way into clarity. You move your way into clarity through your action, right? The freedom comes from your commitment. And that is the paradox, right? Choosing fewer options gives you more freedom, not less. Why is that though? Because once you commit, you stop second guessing. You will gain a little bit of clarity. You will gain and build a little bit of rhythm. You will gain the momentum. Freedom is not unlimited options. Freedom is clear direction. Limited options feel open, but they keep you weak, they keep you stale, they keep you stagnant, right? Commitment feels narrow, but it makes you dangerous on executing your goal. Because now you have the energy, and your energy has a target. So I'm gonna close this and wrap it up for you. If you want faster progress in any area of your life, reduce the amount of options that you have. Make fewer decisions and make your decisions faster. Make your commitments longer. Stop researching for perfect, because the real enemy of success isn't failure, it's hesitation. And hesitation hides behind words like research, comparison, just making sure, keeping my options open. No. Most of the time, that is fear. That is avoidance. So, I would challenge you to this. 3 steps. Pick one area of your life, right, that has too many options for you right now, right? Business, fitness, social media content, professional career, whatever, right? Step 2, cut it down to 3 choices. No more, no less, right? Step 3, choose one of the areas and commit for 30 days. No switching it up, no second guessing, no hunting for a better plan on day 4, 30 days in a row. Then review it. And because if you can't stick with one choice for long enough to get feedback, you will stay stuck forever. So I will leave you with this. Success doesn't come from having more options. It comes from having fewer options, right? Success lives in action. It lives in the commitment. So take the commitment, take the step, take the jump. You got this. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. You can do it. If you guys need anything, you always can reach out to me. Send me a DM. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
No negative vibes, only positive thoughts. Just in the game of life, mindset calls the shots. Got my mind on the prize, I can't be distracted.